What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan, back again with another episode of the Scene Snobs podcast. And it's a very special episode because, one, I am doing a video with this podcast for the first time, and that is evident as in me wearing this stupid hat. But it is Thanksgiving, and it's my Thanksgiving extravaganza. And, we're going to come out here. It's a very Thanksgiving-esque show, centric show, I should say. But I'm going to take off the stupid hat because it's driving me crazy. And I got it for my kids. So, please excuse me. I'll put it right down here so you can see little finger things or whatever they are. But anyway, I am here and I am ready. We are going to be talking about a lot of things. First, I want to start off. I want to talk about this week's episode of The Watchmen. I've been going every week with it, and I want to stick with it this week because it has been fantastic. This episode is again better and better. So it is probably the best so far, and there's going to be some spoilers here because I'm going to let some things go. But so if you haven't watched it, I would maybe skip ahead about to the 10-minute mark. Not even. I'm only going to talk about this for about 5 minutes, but skip ahead a little bit, and if you want to avoid them. But here we go. So the last episode that we saw, we had Sister Night. Angela was just being arrested for her involvement in Judd's death. And she took her grandfather's nostalgia pills, which are memories that in that future, they are memories, they're pills, memories that you can take to remember things. And so she took her grandfather's, which is very dangerous. So she takes them, and now she's kind of like in a, I don't want to say coma type state, but she is reliving his memories. And we get a full-on, I love the black and white aspect of the show this week because it takes place in the, I think it's the 20s. It might be the 40s, but it takes place back then. And we see that Will Reeves is Hooded Justice, which, was not a huge spoiler because everybody sort of thought of it, thought that would be the case. But so we see him, he is Hooded Justice, comes out, but we see how he becomes Hooded Justice in it. And it's horrifying and haunting but beautiful at the same time. And like, it makes perfect sense because like when we saw Hooded Justice back in the day to wear the noose around his neck and where the bindings around his wrists and have the hood on, it makes sense because he was a black man, he was a black police officer, but in the 30s and 40s. So there was a lot of racism back then, and I'm not going to cover all that. That's not what this show's about, but they do cover it, and they cover it very well in the show. And they do a great job with it. So going on, we see that, and we see him starting to uncover through his own investigations, not just as the police officer Will Reeves, but as Hooded Justice. The KKK has infiltrated the police, business owners, things like that, and there's like an organization called Cyclops, underground organization. So it's terrific to see him do it, and you see a lot of things from the other perspective because we saw the TV show and how they kind of played Hooded Justice and who he was and such, but we kind of got to see more of how things actually happen from Will's perspective, and it's terrific. It's just terrifically done, and I loved everything about this episode, and it's building up. It's answering questions, which is good. It's finally knocking things out because there's only like 3 episodes left. But it's definitely building up to something big, and I can't wait to see what that is. So The Watchmen, again, I can't say enough good things about it. It's it's actually on my list a little bit later of things to talk about too, but I'll get to that when I do, because it's part of a bigger thing. But it's terrific, and if you're not watching it, I would binge it as soon as possible because especially if you're a fan of the graphic novel. And you understand it and like what happened in that world. It's very cool how they continue that 30 years later. So definitely check it out. And it's been getting better and better. So I'm hoping to see where it goes and what happens. But with that being said, I do want to talk about in the news recently, the Craven estate, Wes Craven's estate, has regained the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street, which is huge. So for that, like, it's a product that hadn't been done since the reboot, and before that, I mean, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So we got Cravens now have it back. The rights have reverted back to that estate, and they are taking pitches from filmmakers, and it's open. You know, go and you know, pitch your story for the Nightmare on Elm Street series, because they want to kind of come back with it. And I was thinking about it, not pitching, of course. That's I don't do that anymore. I wouldn't even know how to get in touch with them. But I do, like, I started thinking about, like, what would be cool to see. What would be great for Freddy? Where do we want to find him today? And for me, I know after seeing Halloween in 2018 and that continuation from The World, I kind of want to see something like that with Freddy. It would be great if they continued it and all the movies fell in line with it. You know, so it was a sequel to the sequels. Because as much as the sequels weren't always great, and they weren't, I mean, Freddy's Dead, things like that, but it was awesome. They had a lot of, it was really awesome storyline. Like, it kind of fell in. With the exception of 2 and Freddy's Dead, it kind of was all one story. You know, that kind of bled into each other. And I think it would be cool to kind of revisit that. Or do what they did with Halloween and take the first movie and just continue with that. See where you can go with it. And, you know, maybe explore Freddy more. You know, I don't need too much backstory. I think they kind of give you enough, but maybe explore a different realm of Freddy. I've heard names thrown out of some who want to, I've heard names thrown out of some people who want to, who may go in, and I think one of them was Elijah Wood with Spectre Vision, his company. Yeah, so it'd definitely be interesting to see who goes and gets it. Be cool if Shudder did something. You know, that'd be interesting, definitely. But with that, you know, what do you guys think? Where do you think it should go from here? So I am excited to see where that Freddy come back. I would like it to be a continuation. I don't want a reboot. I really don't. I don't need a reboot. I didn't like the reboot. I didn't like the direction they took the story with the reboot. They tried to trick you and make it a twist, and I didn't need that. But with everything, like, I want to see the big three kind of do, well, one of the big three already did it, but Halloween. But I wouldn't mind seeing, once the rights situation with Friday the 13th is worked out, that too, continue the storyline. Why not? We're the fans. We love it. We want to see it. We watch the movies. Why not continue the storyline? I don't need the remakes. I don't need sequels to the remakes. I just continue the story we love. Take it down a darker path. That's fine. I got no problem with that. I thought that would have been fun for Child's Play to do. It would have been an interesting, yeah, I liked all the Child's Play movies. They're not all great movies, but they're fun to watch. And I think that's what's important. And I think if you have a franchise that's fun to watch, why not continue with it? Why are we rebooting and why are we refreshing everything? Yeah, and that was my biggest issue with the Child's Play reboot. But I'm getting off course. But the Craven Estate has the rights back, and they want to do Nightmare on Elm Street. So tell me what you guys think. Tell me, am I crazy? Am I crazy for wanting to continue the storyline? Is that, or would that be fun? I think it would be fun. So, you know, when I read that, I was hoping somebody would come back to it and be like, let's do like Halloween did, you know, but we'll see. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So I kind of want to do a little bit different today because it is Thanksgiving. It's going to kind of be a little bit of a shorter episode too. One, I want to start with my essential Thanksgiving viewing. The things I have to watch that started as a kid. I got my list here. I was kind of going over everything. But, my essential viewing for Thanksgiving. And, even since childhood, things like that. And one of them, the number one thing, especially now that I have kids and I've kind of brought them into it, is Charlie Brown. Now, when it comes to Charlie Brown, the two main courses are Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, and the very, very main is it's Charlie Brown Christmas. So, or is Christmas Charlie Brown. So, we have, those two need to be watched every year, especially now that I have kids. They need to be watched, and the kids feel that way too. But we have, in the middle, a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. And I think out of all of them, all the essential viewing, that is the most important for Thanksgiving. It is not more important than Christmas or Halloween, Charlie Brown. But, so I do need to watch it every year. And it is on TV tomorrow, and I will sit down with the kids and the wife and watch it, and we'll have a good old time. We'll have some snacks and watch it going in. So I grew up with Charlie Brown, and that was one that my grandmother had recorded. And I remember every year around Thanksgiving time, she would pop it in and watch it. And there's a scene in the movie at the end where they're all singing "To Grandmother's House We Go," when they're all going to Charlie Brown's grandmother's. So it always just hit me and always connected with my grandmother. So that's why for me, it's like, it has to be in there. I have to watch it. Another one is Garfield Thanksgiving, because that was on the tape too. And that started right after. Again, it is out of the Halloween, which is probably my favorite for that, for Garfield. And then it goes to Christmas. This one is up there. Need to watch it. It's definitely an interesting take. I love my Garfield. So those are like the two kids shows I would say I have to watch. But now then we get to the parade. Every year I have to watch the parade. I've been watching the parade. I'm from the New York, New Jersey area. I'm from Jersey City. So Thanksgiving Day parade was a big thing. Like I don't know if it is regional, but for us, it kind of like, everybody I knew, we watched the parade on Thanksgiving morning. And that's like when Santa shows up at the end, that's when Christmas season starts. That's when it's okay to decorate. That's when it's okay to, like for us, for where I grew up. So that's a big deal. And again, it goes back, I don't know why it goes back to my grandmother so much, but she pretty much raised me. So, of course it does. But like, we would watch the parade, and she always loved it as a little girl, because like she would go out to New York and watch it when she was a kid. And she would always tell the story, like how she had an aunt who lived in one of the apartments, and they would just look outside the window and watch it. And that was awesome to me. And like, so it was very important for her. I think she kind of beat this stuff into our heads. I think Thanksgiving was her favorite. So, that's a big one. Then a couple of off-the-wall ones. I know a lot of people say Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Great movie. Steve Martin, John Candy. How do you not? You don't get any better. So, not an essential viewing for me, but a great movie. So I understand if it's an essential viewing for others. But then you have a couple of off-the-wall ones. Babes in Toyland. Now that's the one with Laurel and Hardy. I think it's the 30s edition. Now, Babes in Toyland was like my dad's favorite. They would show it on WPIX, which was Channel 11, in every year on Thanksgiving. Right after the parade ended, that went on. So it was one my father loved. He loved Laurel and Hardy, and it was always on. I have not watched it in years, so it is not essential viewing for me. But I thought, because for years and years as a kid, it was, it was a must in my house, I would mention it. But some essentials for me are Miracle on 34th Street. That's like my first viewing. I love that movie, the original, with John Payne and Maureen O'Hara. I love that movie. And now when it comes down to it, it's, I think because it starts at Thanksgiving, it always kind of resonated with me a little bit. And I just think it's a terrific movie. And so that will always be my first viewing of it. It's usually Thanksgiving. If not, at least Black Friday, I'll watch it. Home Alone. Now, I don't know why. Years ago, I think for like 3 years in a row, I think it was NBC, or it might have been Fox. And I'm talking years and years ago. 20 years ago or so. They showed Home Alone the night of Thanksgiving. And for those 3 years, I watched it every year. And ever since, it just stuck. And open to watch Home Alone, the first Home Alone. You know, so that is an essential, again, another essential viewing for me. Now, a new one that I had seen years ago, but watched for the first times with last year during Joe Bob's Dinner and Death Marathon, that now I think is going to be a recurring, I'm going to watch this every year, is Blood Rage. It's just an off-the-wall, crazy horror movie, and I love it. And I'm excited to watch it again. I'm going to watch on Shudder. I'm going to watch the Dinners of Death version, so you got Joe Bob in there. But yeah, so that's my essential viewing for Thanksgiving. You know, and I do want to hear what you guys think. Like, what would you take off? What would you put on? Why is whatever is essential for you on there? You know, it's, another one that I like to watch too is, Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas on Thanksgiving, and for very weird reason. I don't know. It's just, some of these movies just have nostalgic memories for me. I did watch them on Thanksgiving, and now I kind of go back to them. So, sorry, I cut off, but, you know, let me know what you guys think. What do you think of my list? Let me, you know, tell me, give me some recommendations off your list. Maybe I'll add them. But those are ones that resonate with me. And yes, I don't, only Charlie Brown, probably Blood Rage right now, Miracle on 34th Street, The Parade, definitely, are the ones that I watch pretty much religiously every year on Thanksgiving. So everything else is kind of like, that's Thanksgiving viewing for me. And I do watch it most years. But, and I'll probably watch Home Alone again this year because my 7-year-old loves that movie. So, I wanted to do a little different of a segment. I wanted to go over, the 2019 movies and TV shows that I'm thankful for. I'm going to do a year-end review coming up towards the end of the year. We still have some movies coming out that I think might make it. I think Dr. Sleep is definitely going to make it. So, it's on this list, but it will be on the year-end review. But I'm excited to go see Knives Out. I'm going to be doing a video review of that. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And Star Wars, you know. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming out. So the year-end review is mixed up right now. I don't know what's going to be on it. I don't know what's going to finish. But some of the stuff that you hear on this list may. And I will discuss why then. I will discuss like what was so great about those movies when I get to the year-end review. But I do want to talk about movies and TV shows that I am thankful for in 2019. And for one, I am thankful, and this is not a list. They're not rated. They're not in any particular order. I'm just going off of things that I've seen that I really liked. So one is, I'm definitely going to go with Endgame and Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home. Both of those movies. Now, the reason they are is, again, I'll get into it more, but like just a quick recap on why is because Endgame gave me an ending to a 11-year batch of movies. Like this big story that went on for 11 years finally culminated into this epic thing, and it was beautiful. And at the end of it, I was kind of exhausted. I didn't know if I was going to go back to Marvel right away. I know I'm going to see Marvel movies, but I didn't know if I was going to come back to it right away. And to come back around and watch, and the reason Far From Home's on there is because it showed me that, yeah, keep going. It's still going to get better and better. Why not just keep going and watch it? So that was very exciting for me, and I really dig it. Like, I really dig everything they did. Now, going on with my thankful movies, I will say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is right now is my favorite movie of the year. I don't think that's exaggerating. I love that movie. Tarantino did a brilliant job. Now, why it's so personal to me is because I was a filmmaker. You know, I don't count this as what I used to do. You know, just on my end personally. But you know, when I lived in Los Angeles, so I love that city. I was a filmmaker. You know, I worked in that industry, so it was, I don't know, it was like when I watched that movie, it just, something familiar came about it. Like, I know it took place in the 60s. I know it was, you know, fictional, tied in with realistic events, but it just, something hit me in the heart with that. And it was just a fun story. The whole thing, like, there were some boring parts in it. Well, what could be construed as boring parts, I did not find them boring. You know, they're slow-moving parts, but just fantastically done. And I loved every minute of it. So, with that being said, that's on the list. Dr. Sleep, of course, is on the list. That movie just blew me away. Mike Flanagan did an amazing job, and he has his own spin in that movie. Go see my review of it. The video's up. Some TV shows more recently. Two that are blowing me away right now. I wouldn't say anything really blew me away. But except for The Mandalorian, which, again, go see my reviews. I'm doing one of each episode. And I do all my Watchmen reviews of each episode on this podcast every week. But those two shows, they're oh my God, they're brilliant. And I love everything I've been seeing with them. And they're so well written. I will say this. I'll put it on the list as thankful for. I don't think it's going to make the year in review, but I will put on the list for as thankful for is El Camino. And the reason I say that is because it wasn't anything amazing. You know, it was a longer episode of Breaking Bad. But we got what we wanted. We got to see Jesse's story unfold completely. We got a definitive ending. I'm not going to give anything away, but we did get the definitive ending. And anybody knows a bad episode of Breaking Bad is probably better than 95% of whatever TV show is out there. Breaking Bad was, in my opinion, one of, if not the best TV show ever. It is a show that consistently every year got better as it came out, which is not an easy task. It left no holes. You know, it was perfectly written. Everything was put together perfectly. And then you add this story in, this movie. What are we, 5 years removed from it? I have to double check when the last episode of Breaking Bad came out, but I want to say about 5 years. And it was perfect. It worked. And you just loved it. And so that is definitely on my thankful list. As far as, you know, thankful in 2019, I'm doing a lot of newer stuff, but one thing is, I'm thankful for what we're getting from Supernatural so far. I'm a big Supernatural fan. I know I haven't talked about it, and for whoever's a Supernatural fan out there, it's the last season, and they're doing a great job. I've been really into it, and I'm anxious to see where it goes. So so I want to put it on the thankful list for 2019. It's not going to make my year in review, of course, but I do want to say thankful. But okay, with that, that's probably what I'm most thankful for. With anything else, if I think of something, it might pop up, but I kind of wanted to get into what it is with Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving for me, I love Thanksgiving now. Now, growing up, I didn't always love it. It wasn't always the best scenario where, the way I grew up. And Thanksgiving was never treated fantastically. When we were with my grandmother, we had a great time. But year to year could change. And I won't dwell on that. I don't dwell on that. But I do have things I remember, And I think that's why I hold them so tightly, like my essential viewing. Like the parade for me, I have to watch the parade every year. It is important to me. I need to watch it. And that's my thing. So now that I'm older, I start thinking back and like, I love it. I'm super excited for Thanksgiving this year. I cannot wait to sit down and watch it with the kids and then just cook a meal and just my family sit together and enjoy a good meal. Watch them, like I said, start with the parade, then watch football, watch some of our movies, essential viewings and stuff like that. And I'm just super excited for it. So from where I came from to now is fantastic. But I kind of want to touch down on a couple of, because this is a movie, television show, podcast. When I worked in the industry, it took you away a lot. Like when I lived in Florida and I was working, I was in school in Florida and I was working in the industry, but, I was going to film school too. I didn't go home to see the family during Thanksgiving. You save that for Christmas. And then when I lived in Los Angeles, you didn't always get, like I would go home for Christmas, but you didn't always have a chance to go home for Thanksgiving because you would work right up to. So, and then it would shut down for Thanksgiving and you kind of start back up, everybody's trying to get their shooting in before Christmas starts, New Year's, things like that. And like Los Angeles shuts down during Christmas time and New Year's and such. Nothing's going on. If you live there, you got some things, but nothing's really going on. So, with that, I was just thinking back, like I saw some pictures, because I'll see Facebook memories and stuff, and the best part about it was you would get these friendsgivings that happen. And I remember once in Florida, we kind of just said screw it, and we were like, all right, we'll have Thanksgiving, we'll eat some stuff and we'll eat the stuff we have, like whoever was left behind for school, and then we'll go to the Keys, Florida Keys, or Key West, I should say. So we lived in Orlando, so it was like a 7-hour trip. We all packed in our cars and we were going camping down at the Keys, and that was our thing. Like, and I remember I made wild turkey chili, and it did not go well. The raccoons didn't even want it, and that is a true story, because we threw it to them and they did not want it. So all we had was like drunken raccoons at that point. Sorry, it's neither here nor there. No, but I just remember feeling really good. Like we all ate dinner, then drove down to the Keys and went camping. And it was just friends. It was just friends being thankful for being together and having a good time. And flash forward, I want to say like 3 or 4 years later, I'm living with my best friend and his wife in Los Angeles. And we were shooting something, and we had our apartment and stuff, so we knew we weren't going home for Thanksgiving. None of us were going to go home, and we were just like, screw it. I was like, how many people are here? How many people have stuff going on? Let's have a Thanksgiving meal and just invite whoever needs a place to come, right? And we did, and we got a bunch of filmmakers out there, like some really good people, and we just had a hell of a good time. It was just a ball, man. Like it was the first time ever making a turkey. I had never made one before, but I was like, I'll take care of the turkey. And then we had, somebody brought me doing the turkey. My roommates were doing some stuff for the trimmings. We had people bring stuff. Man, we sat at that long table in this tiny apartment, kind of crammed in there. And we ate, and we went over what we were thankful for. We laughed. And I just remember those two. And I guess the reason I kind of bring it up is because with Thanksgiving coming up, I think it's important to know what you're thankful for, Maybe right now you got the crap end of the stick. Maybe you're not feeling too bright or cheery or whatever. I get it. I've been there. But, if you get invited to like a friend's house or something like that, I suggest going. Why not? You're going to have a good time. Don't dwell in whatever pain is going on. Because when we had those, being a filmmaker is not an easy thing. And what I mean by that is when you're crew, you're always looking for work. You're always, it's job. You're always up. You're always on the go. Like you work odd hours, things like that. And your friends are people who work in the industry who get it. So with that, it's like so important that if you have these little things like whatever holidays and things like you need to embrace them and be accepting of invitations and stuff like that. Like for me right now, I'm very thankful that I have a roof over my head. I have my loving family. Now, it wasn't always like that. I had a family, but that's not always what I was thankful for. Now it is. Like things change as you get older. And that is one thing that, I am very thankful for now. I'm thankful I get to do this, and I meet new people, and people message me and talk to me about things. And I love that. And I really enjoy it. I got my wife, I got my kids. There's a lot to be thankful for. And I understand I've been in the same situation where maybe there's not so much to be thankful for. But I think that's when you have to take, even being a filmmaker and like wanting to go home, wanting to see my brothers or my parents, or, at those times when I was living all over the country, or I was working somewhere and I couldn't get home. It's those friendsgivings that, sometimes like the guys and girls I went camping with, when I was in college, were not my best friends. Like I had a couple like really good friends that, but we all worked together. We all knew each other. We all like kicked the same dirt when we were out there filming for 20 hours. And that's a bond that sticks with you. And those are the people I was very thankful for at that time, who had nobody else themselves, but we made it work together. Now, I could have very easily been like, I'm not driving 7 or 8 hours to the Keys. I'm not going camping for a weekend, for Thanksgiving weekend. I could have been that way, being not depressed, but like, yeah, I guess a little depressed that I wasn't going home. And I could have just sulked in my apartment the whole time. But I didn't. I went and I was like, yeah, screw it. Like, take the chance and try it. And I'm very thankful for those. And I'm thankful for the one in LA that we had that. We made sure that whoever didn't have a place to go could come. And like, we knew what it meant to not be going home. So it was important for us to make sure like these other filmmakers, these people we knew would come out and spend the time with us. So this isn't so much about, I think like if you can do that, if you can offer your house to people and, friends or acquaintances that and like maybe they don't have a place to go, that's a nice thing. And it would mean a lot to people. But I think I want to end on a note of, if you get invited, and I know it's very easy, especially this time of year, and you can get sad, and, if you're not going home or whatever's happening or something, a kink is thrown in, but you get invited somewhere, take the invitation. Go and have a good time. Even if someone feels like you're forcing yourself, by the time you get there, you'll just enjoy it. And it will just be smiles and great time. So that's my Thanksgiving like advice for anybody who needs it. And I hope that it helps. And I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. You know, you spend it with families if you can, spend it with friends if you can. Just have a great time. You know, because it's an important holiday. A lot of people like to brush it off like Halloween to Christmas. That's what it's got to get, like most stores. But, you know, just enjoy it. Just have a great time. Go see friends if you can't see family, or do both. Or have your own and invite people you want to invite, you know, and just get the cheer going. But I don't want to dwell on it too much, but those are my takeaways from my Thanksgivings when I was doing filmmaking, and I kind of wanted to share that. Now, kind of want to end this on a good note, like not so much an extravaganza, I know, but it was Thanksgiving centric, and you know, I just want to say, have a great Thanksgiving to you and yours. Enjoy every minute of it. Eat what you can, fatten up, and just be thankful. Just be thankful and know what you're thankful for. That being said, I would appreciate and be very thankful if you liked this video after you watch it, or podcast on SoundCloud. Maybe give us a subscribe on YouTube at the Scene Snobs channel. A like on Facebook, which is the Scene Snobs page, and it is at the Scene Snob on Instagram and Twitter. So if you can give us a follow there, that'd be great. And please give us your feedback. Let me know how I'm doing. If there's any changes or there's any topics that you want me to talk about, I definitely want to get into it. With that being said, I'm going to end this. I'm going to go up. I got to keep cleaning to get ready for Thanksgiving. So gobble gobble, everybody. Have a good old time. Just put my hat back on. And then I will see you next week. Bye.